Mhm. Where we at? Good afternoon. Welcome to Market Talk. It's been a minute since I've been live, so I'm probably going to be a little rusty, but we'll get through that. So, hope everybody's doing well. As always, tuning in. Well, I should not say as always, but per usual, tuning in from the West Coast, Bay Area, and whatnot, as some people would call it. Uh, yeah, I've been gone for a minute. I don't know if I'm covering that per se while I've been gone, but it's been a long time. So I hope everybody's doing well. All right. So we just gonna do what we normally do. Nick, what's good, fam? What's good? What's good? What's good? What's good? Nomad, what's good? Um, yeah, so just some things that's on my mind. Just some things that's on my mind as far as what's going on. This is not the most structured uh show that I normally put on, but you know what? It would take too much procrastination to put too much heavily focus on that. So I'm just gonna wing it and operate in any way that I normally would, right? So it is what it is. Okay, D was good. Uh it's Super Bowl Sunday. The Super Bowl for some reason is in the Bay Area. I kind of know why. It's money, but you know, I'm not I don't really care much for the Super Bowl because unfortunately my team did not make it. So I will um not be upset about that because you cannot win every year unless you bandwagon Warriors fans. If you're bandwagon Warriors fans, you think you'll win every year. You're not going to win every year. But that's how a lot of people that are bandwagoners feel about the Warriors. SD was good. Dan was good. Was good. Truth was up. Um, but yeah, so I figured that Super Bowl's in a few hours. So I mean, we might as well talk a little bit about what's going on in the markets. All right, Philly fans is upset. They are a little upset, but you can't be greedy. And I'm not a greedy individual. It's enough for everybody, except for in sports. I'm greedy. All right. But yeah, so just talk a little bit about what I'm seeing going on in the markets, my thoughts, share your views, the same thing that we do all the time. That's what it's about. Hey, Red Girl, what's going on? I miss you guys too. Clearly, as you can see, I can't stay away too long, and it's been way too long. But I've been good. I've been good. My skin's getting a little bit better. Uh, not too bad. I'm still drinking water, doing the same old. But I've been going back and forth about, hey, should I get back to doing a show? Things like that. I'm completely like remove myself from being online because I just been focused on other things, and I think about it a lot. I be thinking about how everybody's doing, and but I'm not gonna lie, I don't really know, unfortunately. But I just hope everybody's doing what they do. But when you get off this internet and you got to get back to grind and hustling and doing what you're doing in real life, uh, takes a heavy amount of focus, a heavy amount of attention that I need to pay to a lot of things. And so this is more like a passion thing for me as far as like talking to people, talking about finances and things like that, sharing ideas, creating a space to where people can do that, where it's stomachable, meaning in the sense of you don't have to feel like you're talking to hedge fund managers and everybody knows everything. So where you're afraid to walk through the door because you feel like you don't fit. But at the same time, you feel that you get value out of sharing ideas with people that are like-minded, but with different views and perspectives. So that's kind of how I look at everything. So I like to bounce ideas off of people. It's kind of like a sparring match, when it comes to a lot of things. Like, hey, I'm thinking this. What are you thinking? And so that's how I kind of use this as a springboard for those type of ideas. So I watch a lot of financial content around a lot of content creators, some that are doing amazingly well and some that are super small that might have like a few hundred subscribers and things like that, because I focus on the value as opposed to the size of the audience. Okay. Donnie Simpson. I don't. No, I actually, would be crazy. I always floated with the idea of animating that show. All right, Flex, I'm telling you, I always floated with the idea they should animate that show. But hey, that's IP. Depending on how that goes, you'll never see how it is. So, and also, I've also been floating with this idea. And if you guys have some interest in it, it's kind of what I have interest in. I kind of starting to think I want to cover more financial content creators' videos and what they tell us, what I agree with, disagree with, things like that. I find that to be a little more fun, but I'm also cautious because I am very, very cautious about stepping on other people's toes, because I don't want to come across as someone that's like hating on anybody's success or hating on anybody's like job or how they make money and things like that, by being hypercritical of a lot of things that people say. Because I would be extremely critical of a lot of things. And so there are a lot of content creators that are doing a lot of content about things that I don't necessarily believe that they know what they're talking about. And they just present that they do, which is cool. I'm not an expert at anything. I'm living life like everybody else, and I don't pretend to be. Some people do, and that's okay. If that's what people are engaged with their audience and they like that, cool. I will always suffer from trying, like, I don't want to say selling your soul, because that's an overly stated thing and people talk about, oh, I'm selling my soul. But it's hard for me to just flat out just lie and mislead people for the sake of possibly generating some money. I watch content creators do it all the time. I don't say anything because it's none of my business. The argument is this is all entertainment. I haven't got to the point where I can do that kind of stuff. I just haven't. And so I don't believe that I will. So I'm very nitpicky with what I'm willing to do and not do. I want this to continue to be something that I get up for and enjoy and stuff like that. So Tyranny, what's good on? She said, we famous right now. I don't know why. I don't know why. I don't want to be famous. I want to be one of those quiet CEOs that nobody knows what they look like. Like, let me see. Who's the CEO of Louis Vuitton? Y'all don't know what they look like, right? Perfect example. Yeah, I'd rather be somebody like that. Fame does has its value. I just, it's never been something that's intriguing to me. But I'd be like a J. Cole famous person, which is, I wouldn't say horrible, but it's not the best. Like, I would be that type. So, yeah, I don't know if he's widely loved because he is so simple in a lot of things that he does. But anyways, guys, so look. Flex Zone says, Aaron, you still cool with Anton? Yeah, me and Anton cool. I don't have no problems with nobody. Why would I have problems with Anton? Like I said, I don't know about none of the content that's going on online. So don't ask me if I know this or that. I don't. And if somebody said this about me or that, I wouldn't know if they did or not, honestly. And most likely, as normal, it wouldn't really impact me very much. I just look at a lot of this stuff for what it is. I have enough vision to see what's real, what's entertainment, and all those other things. So I'm not too worried about those things. And as you guys know, people say something about me, it really does not impact me very much. Yeah, they're not really. I would say, like in anything in life, the only way something can impact you is when it starts to impact you financially. And for the most part, that's going to be really hard to do. For the most part. Anyway, so what we going to talk about today? One, we should talk about what y'all got going on, meaning how y'all been doing since I've been gone. Y'all been taking care of y'all been managing y'all finances. Y'all been doing the smart thing. Y'all been doing what we talked about for all those months, all that discipline I installed, all those conversations. Have y'all been taking it back to your friends and family? Have y'all been, engaging in working? Or have y'all been BSing, playing around, blowing money, betting on the Super Bowl? Yeah, we'll talk about that later too. I am hopeful that a lot of you guys have been really hunkering down on your personal finance, because I really want you to understand this. What is going on right now outside of all the political stuff, the wars, and all that kind of stuff, it's a real transfer of money, transfer of intellectual properties, ideas, from one group to another group to another group to another group. And groups are getting much more richer, while some groups are getting much more poor. A lot of you don't feel the pain in that because it's not time for you. Remember, you talk about gold again. These people in this gold. Remember, the market and the economy are not in sync, meaning what happens in the market does not immediately impact what's happening with the economy for us on a day-to-day basis. Markets are futures. So in a sense, they are always preparing to what's going on, what's going forward, and the economy is always playing catch up for the most part. So you guys may not feel the layoffs that are occurring. You guys may not read, no matter how much I tell you guys, start reading about what really controls a lot of the things you do. Because to be truthful, the more money people have, the more focus that they have on business ideas and creation of more money, and the less money people have, the more the focus on other people and what they got going on in their lives. When you're doing well, when you're focused and you're creating for your life, you're not really focused too much on what somebody else is doing unless it can help generate you money. So I don't want to confuse the two. And this is the part I want to make a clear distinction that I can identify the differences. Meaning, if you're watching a Shannon Sharpe, one of his shows, where they do gossip or speak about other celebrities, other news, or things like that, which are talking about people, that does in fact generate them money. So if you are talking about people all in a business and it's generating you money, I'm not saying that I recommend to do that, but I understand, because then it becomes a financial process as opposed to you just talking about other people's lives. That's hard. And so, yeah, be careful with that. That's how, what's the Bad Girls Club or whatever those shows is? That's how these reality shows are very popular. They generate a large amount of volume and viewership, but the viewers don't necessarily get anything beneficial out of that. You can see what I'm saying? So if you're a viewer of that content, nothing manageable that you can take from those experiences and actually elevate or benefit you. Now, let me not oversaturate that with, sometimes life is about having fun. Sometimes life is just about enjoying it. You don't want to be stressed out. You don't want to be overwhelmed about finances and things like that. I totally get that. Actually, yeah, that's probably most people's ideal life, to have enough money to where most people don't want to be insanely rich unless the money falls into their lap, right? But the process to do it, most people don't want to do. And if they would just be okay, they would be fine with enjoying other aspects of life, right? That finding that blend is hard. So really, really think about that. Which side are you currently on? And this show is designed for you to focus a little bit more on the money, a little bit more on the finances. Even if you're not generating an insane amount of money, what you do with the money that you create is why my favorite book, and all y'all should know my favorite book by now. It's why I really, really love that book, because it teaches you how to manage what you have. You don't have what somebody else has. So this is why I never get offended by people that are more successful. Other people will try to sell like it's competition. We're competing, this, and that, which is true to some degree, right? but your success doesn't necessarily impact my success. So why should I be mad at you, and why should I care what you say? Like if you say you're more successful than me, well, guess what? My life didn't just change because you told me you're more successful than me. You ain't paying my bills, and I'm not gonna pay your bills. So that interaction is not going to evolve into anything. So I don't get caught up on a lot of that stuff. What I do get caught up on is consumerism and targets, meaning who's targeted, what's the consumer class doing, and how can I find ways to not necessarily be a victim of that particular, but to be an aggressor and find a way to generate money while also finding other ways to increase revenues in other areas of life, right? Most people do one thing, they create one source of income, which is changing their time for money. And they don't create any other forms or streams like products, et cetera, and things like that. Now, content creation has changed the game in the sense of you can make a ton of money with low overhead, and that will change. And we're going to speak about that today as well, because I think that's important for people to pay attention to. I think a lot of people can actually do content, and a lot of you guys are extremely talented in some areas. You just may struggle with strategy. You just may struggle with getting your thoughts out of your mind and putting into action. And that's what a lot of people do. So a lot of you might speak better than these content creators. And I'm sure some of you might get frustrated in seeing some of the worst content creators when you're like, who is these people? And they generate tons of money. Part of the reason that happens, okay, let me tell you. Hey, Cree, how you doing? Part of the reason that happens is the fear of just beginning is a real thing. I'm going to just tell y'all, for me, just for this live stream, it took me probably an additional 35 or 40 minutes just to begin. And part of it is the mental process into going into it. Plus, I'm a little out of sync. I haven't done this in a while. So there's a little apprehension there, right? So they kind of call it like stage fright. Well, I shouldn't say it like that. But when you're about to go on stage and that's just those moments, you get those little jiggers like, man, it's showtime, right? It's a real thing. And no matter how many times you do something, if you're out of rhythm, you haven't performed in a while, it will always creep up on everybody. So just remember that. But part of it is mainly just beginning. All right. Tyranny says, I definitely. Yeah, the strategy is probably the hardest part for most people. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why you struggle with strategy. Part of it is most of the things in our day-to-day life, we've been given a process by someone else, which doesn't involve overly having critical thinking skills, right? And so what that means is we've been told since we were kids, hey, wake up, go to school, come home, do your homework, clean your room. Everything about our life, for the most part, has been dictated to us. And if you're not, and this is no fault to anybody's parents or things like that, we all got to make do with what we were given. If you're not empowered to challenge things and think for yourself at a young age, it will be hard to do at an older age. And when you create, you don't necessarily have a baseline to start. It's like a blank canvas. It's like, it's just blank, right? And that canvas, you have to understand that your mind has to take those thoughts and put it there. And that's very hard to do. That's why you look at the creativity of most people, and it's a lot more of duplication, and it's a very difficult process. Now, the strategy part is this. Sometimes you have to create strategy while you're processing things. You cannot put everything out and then go, okay, I'll do it exactly like this. I'm so sorry. That is very hard to do. So I would suggest, and I won't divulge a lot into my strategies, plans, and things that I teach people and whatnot, but in a general sense, you literally just have to do something. And I will tell you the most powerful thing that I actually tell people what to do when we're just conversing. And this is to me, this is the most powerful thing that I think anybody can know. This is my personal opinion. And it's not crazy at all. You have to go and do the things that you're afraid to do. You have to go and do the things you are afraid to do. That is where most of the roadblocks in your life and the roadblocks to your success is because you're afraid. That's it. You're afraid of what people are going to think about you. You're afraid of what people are going to say about you. You're afraid what they might say online. You're afraid that you might not actually be good at something. You're afraid that you are not who you believe you are. That's when that imposter syndrome, it starts to really flow down on you. Understand what I'm saying? That's the fear. Please go and do what you're afraid to do. Please do. Telling you, okay? Shadow Dragon TV in the building says, was just asking about you the other day. Good to see you, brother. Hope everything is going well for you. Hey, man, Shadow Dragon, what's going on, family? Yeah, bro, I've been good. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. I've missed streaming. I missed the community here that we built. But I took a real large step back and really focused on what I had in front of me in life outside of social media. And I had to over prioritize that because I just had a lot of stuff going on, and I still do. But I always think about you guys, man. You're always in the back of my mind, and I'm like, man, because this is passion for me, right? So it's like, I hope everybody, still, staying focused and still pushing those conversations that we had and stuff like that. So sometimes you have to realize that sometimes people don't do things unless you're around. Sometimes the show don't go on unless you perform it. So I take that with a small burden, and I realize that, you know what, I got to get back to my people. Okay, my brother Sharon Bracy is in the building, says, good to see you, my brother. I see we got the same barber now. Oh, I see what's going on here. Yeah, I did call up your barber, and I flew them from New York to the Bay, okay? Because I refused to pay for those Super Bowl tickets. I absolutely did. But okay, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate y'all. And look, I'm glad to see y'all all kicking, rocking, and doing what y'all doing, man. I wasn't expecting nobody to show up because this is what we do. But that's genuine from my heart, man. Please, you don't have to even pay for this consultation. Go and attack the things that cause you fear. Go and attack the things that cause you fear. I talk about my man Sharon. Sharon was like, man, I don't know how much do I want to go all in on this content creation stuff. I got a lot of this stuff going on. Now he may be more of a fearless individual because he's done business and enterprise and things like that. So it may be an easier thing to do, but he got a lot of responsibility. He got a big family, so really focusing and hunkering down on social media and saying, yo, I'm gonna keep pushing. I'm gonna keep pushing. Dude, that's a hard decision because there are other things that weigh on you, And listen, social media is scary because these people crazy on here. You got to go and attack it. I assure you, any success that you're looking for, anything that you need to learn about yourself. I'm gonna say that again, and nobody chop me up for this. Okay, this is not motivation. Anything that you want to learn about yourself, it's on that side. It's on that other side of attacking that fear. Okay, I assure you, you're going to learn if you are who you think you are, who you say you are, who you want to be. You're going to learn. And most likely, you're going to knock the wall down and the wall's going to knock you down, but you get to get back up. You get to get back up. But I assure you, that's the only way you're going to find out. Now, all y'all that's going to stay on the sidelines, you are going to continue to support the people that get off the sidelines. And it bothers me because I've seen other people talk about it. Like they can tell you what to do. They can tell you their ideas and you still won't do nothing. That part triggers me in the sense of like, man, I wish they would have told me that. Man, I wish they would have told me that way back then. I would have did it because I was always those. I am a creator, right? But sometimes you got to get in a space where you can create. And at that time, as you're really young, you're a follower. You're looking for the guidance. Like, yo, teach me what should I do? I don't know what to do. Yeah. That's where people get stuck at. You're gonna watch people do what you want to do. Don't let it be. Don't let it be. I assure y'all, most of y'all are actually better than a lot of people that are doing the things that you want to do, but your apprehension keeps you from doing it. Just so simple. If you go on YouTube and you get no people in your chat, that bothers you. Oh man, And did y'all notice all these other people that don't bother them? They're like, man, you got 4 people in there. Now some people tease them. Oh, you only got 4. But the goal to do it, that is what's going to separate people. Are you a doer, or are you somebody that observes forever? We got people that do, and we got people that watch. Okay, don't repeat that. So I try to spend a lot of my time on using observation to become a doer. All right. You don't want to start. What were you in February? Oh no. You don't want to start this year off. Well, one, y'all probably already quit going to the gym. We accept that. We accept y'all probably already quit going to the gym. All right. Usually in March, those gym members. And by the way, okay, since we here, I like to use my real life and people that I've got to learn and meet over the years and learn about their businesses and stuff like that. Too Savvy was good. I want you to know this, okay? Because I know a couple people that run gyms, okay? They still get your money. Once they get you hyped up and logged in, and you that end of December, early January, you get those memberships, they lock you in, and y'all don't even utilize. Like, now I'm going can screw couple different things here, right? Y'all kind of turn, and this is where your business mind can actually move. Y'all kind of turn y'all gym memberships into an insurance company, meaning y'all float them money. Now, y'all can go ahead and Google what float means when it comes to finance and all those things, but y'all essentially be floating these gym membership companies money, because after March, y'all don't go. And then y'all say, oh man, I need to go to the gym. They know y'all going to do it. This is how crazy psychology is when it comes to business. This is how crazy it is that they know. That they know y'all going to do this stuff and they going to make money off of it. So I want y'all to genuinely understand that. And so with that, hopefully somebody will be at least a little motivated to do something where fear is preventing them from going forward. Now, for the ladies here, most likely y'all have some YouTube algorithm when it comes to beauty, right? Beauty influencers and all those things. And y'all be like, oh, she ain't that. A lot of that stuff. Oh, matter of fact, I know some of y'all, most of the ladies can do right now. Y'all don't even need to over strategize about it. Y'all can just review stuff. When it comes to products and things like that, y'all can review those and use your own little creative personality on how to review stuff. And start with one person watching your reviews. I don't care if it's your grandma, your first cousin, your best friend. Start with one. Okay? Favors, what's good? Says your boy Buffett sold all his stocks. What's that about? I don't know what you're talking about. I have no knowledge of Berkshire Hathaway releasing all of their holdings, which generate them a large ton of profit. And so I'm not aware of that. And as far as I know, his largest position is that. Now, if that has changed, I mean, he is 97, 98, 95 or whatever. So he not planning on, necessarily clocking a lot more dollars for the next couple of years. So if he decided to sell, which I don't believe he did, good for him. Good for him. I'm not necessarily mad at that. And by the way, I don't even know how to operate this chat no more. So whoever moderates, that's their job at this point, because I don't even know where the buttons is for that no more. But this is what we're going to talk about today, right? One, whatever y'all want to talk about, I don't care. We can talk about that. One, we want to talk about NVIDIA and what their CEO's vision is and what they're planning on. I want to talk about the spending of big tech and why I think it's occurring, what I think it'll impact. I want to talk about the CEO of Disney, and I want to talk about futures market, predictions market, things like that, which I think is going to play a huge impact on the future as legislation starts to roll out and things like that. Okay, I'll also tell you about random other stuff in the meantime. All right. Dollar was good. Dang, it's been a long time. How long have I been off YouTube? Let me see. 4 or 5 months? 4 or 5 months, something like that. So it's been a minute. A lot can happen in 4 to 5 months, and nothing could happen in 4 to 5 months. So let's make sure that's not necessarily us. All right. Now, what does the Great Reset look like? Now, that, my friend, is a phenomenal question. And I would tell you, we're in uncharted territory right now. I would say what's occurring right now has happened before, but what the future of it will look like, I don't think most of us can actually pull from that. I don't think most of us can pull from that. All right. Is that Vanny Rule? You better stop it. You better stop. Y'all, you know I love my Canadians, okay? I do. Canadians are some of the nicest people I've ever met. Canadians, Japanese, maybe Australians. Those like the top 3 people that are just the nicest people consistently that I meet when I meet other groups. And then in the States, women from the South. Yeah. Georgia. Oh, yeah. The ladies, whenever they come up to the Bay, they some of the nice people I've ever met. The guys, I don't know. I don't really know about the guys when they come up here from the South, but I assure you the ladies are very, very sweet, very kind when they come up to the Bay. Okay. I could tell you that's my experience with them. Okay. Now the accents be nice as well. You know, we like to get a different energy. So, but those are some of the dopest people, and Canadians are very high up on that list. Now, as these politics keep going off, I don't know how they're going to feel about the Americans. Okay. I just don't. Okay. Shout out to my guy, Andre Brown. Okay. Says, I tried for over 12 years to get over 30 ex-coworkers, family members, friends, and ex-girlfriends to invest in stocks in the exact same way I invest. I recently retired back in 2025. Shout out to you, man. Shout out to you on your retirement. That is dope. They are still working and looking at me crazy now. Well, dang, bro. Dang, I appreciate the super chat. Appreciate the support. You know what's so crazy? Me and you probably have similar stories in the sense of the level of frustration we get from trying to get other people involved, especially family, which hurts so much because we came up together and we like, yeah, you know, it's a pathway out. And if you just, you know, grind a little bit, do this here and do this there, your outcome could look different if you could prepare for the future. So me and you in the same boat. Oh my gosh. I hate that number 30 though, because I know it's probably more and you just trying to, you know, keep a simple number. It's probably more. But it hurts. It genuinely hurts. One of my biggest pains personally, and a lot of people will tell you I'm a robot, by the way, okay? One of my biggest pains personally is that when I run into family, they are in the exact same geographical, financial position they were in 30, 60 years ago, right? And how can I use those numbers? I'm going to tell you why. And that's why it pains me. Because they parents set the standard for, I don't want to say this because it's going to come across as like mean in a lot of ways, but the standard of like government subsidies and and staying in government housing and never elevating out of that. By the way, I'm open-minded, so do not feel the need to attack or be offended. I'm fine with people feeling like the government owe us. They owe us, and you know what? Everybody else take advantage of what they got going on, so are we. Absolutely no problem with that. But when people use that excuse, they not really taking advantage the same way the other groups are. And I'm not saying that you have to do what the other groups do, or they are the leaders, or they're the measures. I'm saying if you're gonna say they do it and you do it, well, you got to understand that they do it plus other stuff, plus other stuff. You can't just do it and keep repeating, because I see great aunties and great uncles, and then I see their children, and then I see the ones that I grew up with, and then I see they repeating the same cycle. Breaking the cycle is probably the hardest things to do, because as most of you probably know, there's a little bit of that survivor's remorse, or whatever they call it, where you like have shifted. I don't want to use the word elevated, because that affects and piss people off. Money doesn't make you better than nobody else, and I 100% agree. Money makes nobody better than anybody else. It may make their value different depending on the circumstance, but it don't make anyone better, right? That's hard. That's hard. That elevation there is, and remember, it's not just financially, it's not just geographically, it's also mentally, meaning, we can't do the stuff that we used to do. Meaning, I didn't have a lot growing up, all right? And when I say it was bad, I'm not exaggerating. I don't think it's extreme, but it ain't good, right? It's not good, right? And if I ever write a book, a lot of y'all gonna go, I wasn't really expecting that, but that's probably pretty cool, right? Getting out of those circumstances and shifting it, I don't like call it breaking family curses, whatever y'all want. It's extremely hard, because you got to save yourself before you can save everybody else. And by the way, I believe, Andre, probably on the way of trying to make it out, you was probably like, hey, y'all could do this. Hey, y'all could, while you was in process. But remember, Andre, this is what you're going to struggle. Nobody cares about the process. They only care about the final outcome. Yeah, but did you get all that money you said you was going to get? Yeah, it's probably going to take me like 10, 15 years, but I'm going to get it. Man, come back and see me. And when you get the money, Andre, we don't want to listen to you. Like, I hear what you said, but you ain't got what you said you going to get, and you might not get it. You might not get it, so I ain't hearing you. Because they want to see the finished product. They like, show me that you actually did it. And by the time you show them that you actually did it, too late. They like, all right, look, take this. Tell me if this is true. Tell me if this happens. Just one or two people. Look, after they see how well you done, they're like, hey, look, so I'm coming into some money. I got a little bit of money out of nowhere. I'll just think about, like, I could give it to you or something, or you could show me what to do with it, and then, go ahead and do that. And now you like, nah, it's too late. I told y'all what to do. Nope, forget it. Those ideas, those processes is too long. But now that company that ran all the way up. It's too late. You can't get the one I got. Can't do it. Lamar Black was good, fam. He says, I thought you was. Well, I wish it was. I wish I could get some money. I'll be outside begging like everybody else. I just want to also tell y'all one thing. There ain't no homeless people in San Francisco right now. Be quiet. Y'all be talking all that mess. Oh, San Francisco got nothing but a bunch of homeless people. Come to the Bay right now. You won't find none. Probably in Oakland you find some, because it's hard to get rid of those. But I'm telling you, you come to the city right now. Take your camera, vlog around the city. It's the cleanest thing you ever seen. Trying to tell you. Cleanest thing you ever seen. Ain't no homeless people out here. They don't exist. We done solved homelessness. For the Super Bowl, we done solved it. We done solved it. So don't judge us. All right. Your judge is on our best and not as our worst. Okay. That's what I demand. Ain't no homeless people in San Francisco. All that mess y'all been talking. Ain't none here. No. There's none here. All right. Now, I want y'all to understand that mental elevation I spoke about, I used to get mad if people stepped on my shoes. I just want you to know that. Because the shoes was not cheap. I ain't gonna lie. I had some nice shoes at the time. I did. Andre says, some of them I helped set up the investment accounts, but they ignore me after I let them know what to buy. I'm going to tell you why. The reason why is because they don't want the process. They want the outcome. You got to listen. There's a reason why I gravitate to the brilliant minds. All right. I want you to look. They moving to Oakland. Hey, listen, I can't save every city. All right. We can only save a few at a time. They probably did move to Oakland. I don't know. Gave them a bus pass or something. I don't know. But they ain't out here right now. That's all I'm saying. At some point, you got to move past it. Because when I was growing up, listen, some of y'all might know this. Maybe just some Bay Area, northern stuff kind of go. Man, stepping on somebody's shoes was a problem back in the day. It was a big problem. I don't even care. Man, I remember somebody, I'm listening. It used to be a problem. Somebody had stepped on my shoes. They're like, damn, my bad. I'm like, man, don't worry about it. They just shoes. They just shoes. He like, yeah, but them things are fresh. Them things are new ones. Don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it. Now, they want some nice shoes. I ain't gonna lie, they nice. But people human. People human. And, you know, even if they did it on purpose out of some level of jealousy, you can't hurt what don't exist to hurt. I'm not a representation of my shoes. My value exceeds that. I no longer identify my value in material things, meaning that material things are nice, but my value is not attached to it. And so if you walk outside in some crazy scuffed up shoes, when I see that, I might be thinking, oh, they might got some paper, as opposed to somebody stepping out of some super fresh, nice everything. And I'm like, never know. That might be all their money that they wearing on them, right? Because my mindset shifts so much. I've seen so many different individuals that are, you know, doing extremely well, not care about those things. So I stopped. I'm like, oh, why would I care about something like that? They don't. And they're doing quite well. The anger, the frustration, the emotion that it elicits out of you, it's not something I wanted to live with, man. So that don't mean step on my shoes when you see me. Hey, I heard you. It was like, you don't care if I step on your shoes. I'm step on your couch. I'm rich. Don't do that. That's not what I'm indicating. What I'm saying is the emotion doesn't elicit that anger or frustration out of me. You know, it's like, and you know, $300, $400, $500, $1,000 shoes, whatever. Who cares, right? They are definitely gone if somebody scuff them or whatever the case is. But man, who cares? We so much bigger than that, man. So much bigger than that. And by the way, that's as free as you can. One of the most freest states you can get is when you realize that. L. Nixon, what's good, family? What's good? He says, Aaron, good to see you, bro. Pray all is well. Appreciate that, fam. I'm doing phenomenal. Listen, everything is great. I'm glad to see all you guys here rocking. But I've been great. I'm not gonna lie. I feel phenomenal. I think I'm even in an even better space mentally than I previously was. And I already had like crazy control over like where I mentally was in life in certain areas. I was managing that really, really well in a sense. And I just think it's better and better. I just think it's getting better and better. I ain't gonna say we age like fine wine because I don't drink, but I do think as we get older, we get even more settled in life and we get more greater understanding and things like that. So I kind of think we're there. Okay. Shout out to my bro Sway in the building. What's good, Sway? What's good? Now y'all ask me where I've been at. Where Sway been at? I mean, if I've been missing, I know Sway been missing. And by now, Sway probably got his own little crew of electricians running around working for him. Hey, yeah. I used to do that. Rook, come here, Rook. Yeah. Go ahead and do that. Yeah, you see them wires over there? Hey, turn that off. Turn that. Sorry, no, Sway over there running things now. But good to see you, brother. I hope all is well. Hope all is well, man. Hope everything is going 100 like they're supposed to be, family. But yeah, man, it's been great, and the space that I'm in mentally is just much better. By the way, I do have New Balances, Lamar. I do have New Balances, and they're actually probably like my favorites. But don't step on them. I'm going back and forth about getting some those Hoka shoes because I've been seeing, but they just look funny to me. I'm sorry, they look like a medical shoe, in which they could be. Don't judge me. And right now the styles I'm seeing, I'm like, they look comfortable though, because they look extra bulky and all that. But no, but look, a lot of people wearing these Hoka shoes. They got to be some type of, I don't know, man. I'm telling you, they must be like some medicine shoes or something for your feet. I don't know, but I'm teetering back and forth about if I need to get some of those. Okay, so y'all let me know if y'all got them. But they are an enemy to my Nikes, and y'all know I'm a Nike value shareholder, and I believe in the future, and the future is still Nike. A lot of y'all don't realize that, but that's okay. I see it because my vision only matters right now, okay? Somebody says, Sway, I need you to install a generator for me. Sway can do it. Sway, look, listen, man. You need the job done, holler at your boy Sway, get the job done, okay? Nurses love those shoes. You know what? That might be 100% true. I do be seeing a lot of nurses with those. Like, dental offices, I'll be seeing them walk around in those. Where did I go the other day? I seen somebody in some Hokas. I'm like, what are you doing with some Hokas? Like in my mind, I'm like, some Hokas on. But anyway, I just be seeing it a lot. I just be seeing them a lot. Okay. Alex said that's my next stock. Which one? For the Hoka shoes? I forget the name of the stock. Hoka's run by like a parent company. I forget the name. Something with like a D or something like it. It's eclipsing me right now because I got too many in my head stacked up. But yeah, I don't know, man. You bet you Nike. Oh, you said Nike. Okay, well, join the family. You know, I was going to join the family. Why not? Have you seen the releases that they got coming up? Is it still black people on this planet? Is black people still the cool people of the planet? And they still stuck on Nikes? Come on, man. We know what's going down. We know what's going down. But yeah, anyway, let's get back into this little bit of the market conversation, because that's what we ultimately here for. We're here to laugh and joke and have a good time, but ultimately we're here to break down the markets and what I see going on, and you can share with me what you see going on and see if we can take advantage of some things. Also, with the breakdowns of what we see happening, it also allows you in your personal life to allocate those perspectives on a lower scale, right? So you understand why you're having trouble moving product if these companies are having problems moving product when they have access to almost unlimited advertising. The spend on advertising is through the roof. Y'all about to see that when the Super Bowl come on. What they spending on, which companies are spending, where they're targeting, the AI impact and all these things. And so all that stuff going on, right? But it all starts in this whole kind of like movement, revolution, AI and all this stuff. It all centers around NVIDIA, right? And yes, I've been in the markets long enough to where I remember when NVIDIA was less than $100 a share, when before it took off and, you know, before it split multiple times. I remember that. And of course, I kick myself all the time, but I'm not a tech person. I'm in finance. So that was a hard understanding for me, right? And even the people that really are tech based, they can't really explain it to a novice person. They like the people with technological minds and all that stuff. They can't compute that, and they can't relay that back to us. So it's hard having conversations with them. And a lot of times, if you're not really up on reading into those companies and things like that, you probably won't get it. A lot of the CEOs are like dope, right? You'll notice the best CEOs have a certain skill set that the other ones don't. Okay. Elnick says, I'm definitely trying to see what the ads look like this year. I like the partnership 50 has with DoorDash. Laughing out loud. Yeah, DoorDash is pretty much here to stay. How you have to listen. I promise you. I forget what was it, the Quarters app I told you about. They have almost every investor call on there, all the quarterly calls and all those things. I'm pretty sure they have. When you hear how they speak about people and they convert the name of people to consumer or customer and all these things, like what you'll find out is that they want to see where the people are moving in their demands. And most people don't want to leave their home as much when it comes to acquiring food. And they're willing to pay a premium to get it delivered to their home. Think about that. People with little to no money is willing to pay a premium to get food delivered to their door. I'm going to just be honest with you. I may have used DoorDash 5 times in my life. 5 times. All right. And I actually think it's 4, but I'm going to say 5 times. Okay. And I want you to understand that. Part of it was, I wanted to see, and I wanted to be able to speak from personal experience in the sense of like when I speak about the mobility business that Uber has, which is and their delivery business and all that. I wanted to kind of be like, I understand personally how that works. I put something on the app. I see how long it takes to get from point A to point B, and I go, oh, this was fast. Was the food hot? How does the tips work? How much do you want to tip? And remember, I talked to you about tip culture. People hate tipping. The second, people are starting to dislike other people so much, they begging for robots. Man, I wish they replace you with a robot. I'm so sick of y'all people. Because remember, the people have the emotions. The robots ain't. So you have to think about that. And so while I did it, I'm like, okay, this is pretty fast. I see like which area, the region and all that. Okay, what's closer to this and all that. And I just wanted to get that personal experience so I can understand when I'm speaking to people, like, how simple did that just make me? Why did I even do it? What was my mindset for justifying this charge here? Is the charge that they're displaying to us the actual charge, the actual, how much money actually goes to these people? And then what type of people are actually performing these jobs? I'm studying all of this stuff, right? I'm seeing the driver that pulls up, how they interact, how, less interaction, more interaction. I don't want to say background of them so much because that's not super important, but it does give you a little bit of understanding if certain groups are migrating to these professions more than others, and then understanding how certain groups, how they consume. If they are connected to this, then it's kind of safe to say that they may then be connected to this, et cetera, okay? Travel One says, Aaron, get out of debt already. I've never been in debt. Travel One, I know you like messing with me, and you probably made like a gazillion pages at this point, but I've never been in debt. I was never smart enough to get a college degree, so I did not get $99,000 of college debt. So I don't have that. I don't have a vehicle still. I know y'all still want. Did you get a vehicle? Still can't afford it. So I still got one of those nice municipality passes in which you can operate and get around from time to time. So don't worry about that. I don't got no nice car. And plus, the prices went up on cars. I don't want to lie to y'all. I don't like that. So now I got to wait till the prices come down, if they ever come down. So I'm contemplating an electric scooter and electric bike. I'm leaning more towards the bike if I do get one. But yeah, no, I don't have no debt issues. The only time I will accrue debt is an investment property, which is more, it's looking more and more likely to occur based upon the markets. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what my strategy is and how I'm looking at things going forward, et cetera, et cetera. I'm going to do all that for sure in this show. And because I'm kind of bypassing a lot of other stuff because I'm enjoying more just like getting my thoughts out. Will, what's good? Will said, what up, brother? Where have you been? Well, I have not really been around. I've been trying to stay connected to everybody, but I'm so far out the loop. I had to get realigned with life. And so I just took it because I wouldn't say I was getting burnt out. I wasn't getting burnt out from it, but I was trying to find my spot here. And, you know, sometimes you got to take a step back and reevaluate everything. And so I had to reprioritize things that's going on in real life. So I just took a step back. But I definitely missed you guys for sure. I missed you all. So my heart was like, I got to come back and see my people, you know. So hence I'm back now. Going forward, well, I'll be back every week like I was. Ooh, that's going to be a tough ask, okay? Andre says, I hold the dividend growth funds in a handful of individual stocks, but my biggest cash makers are these option income funds: CHPY, IWMI, NIHI, TSPY, TSYX, TDAQ, KSLV, KGLD, TDAX, TDAX, that is, and ASGI, XQQI, and GIAX. Now, I just want to tell you that he's putting that on the screen because I can't necessarily put that on the screen. But if that is what someone is just stating what they're doing in their life, well, not hint, but, you know, a lot of people are doing things. And by the way, and shout out to the markets are doing phenomenally well. I would argue that most people are probably at you should be teetering close to all-time highs, right? If you're in a good fund or you've, you know, allocated your monies in good vehicles or good companies, you should be pretty high up in the market. So what that means, one, if all of y'all have retirement accounts, which I presume a lot of you may have it, whether it's a Roth, a traditional, whatever the case is, most of y'all, if y'all just been doing the simple process, ETFs, index funds, mutual funds, whatever you want to, should be pretty close to all-time highs what you're investing in. If y'all been maxing out or whatever the case is, and y'all know how much I hate 401ks and how much I hate most retirement account vehicles, even though I have one, I still don't like it. And there's many reasons why. And I'm getting more frustrated with another reason, which is this. They are flirting with the ideas of letting, I don't know, what was the president talking about? Something about being able to buy a mortgage or something through your 401k. It was something like that, to where it was something to do with housing or something with your 401k. And I don't know, I don't like it. I don't like it. Rock says, Aaron, do you have one-on-ones for first-timers startups? To be fair, I do consult with people, but startups are not necessarily a realm of where I have like strong expertise around and things like that. So that may not be the best idea for you to consult with me, but it's definitely a good idea to consult with someone when you are dealing with a startup. because there are just things you just don't know, strategies you just don't know, that getting the right consultation with can open up a lot of eyes and views and strategies you just don't have knowledge of. I'm not a YouTuber that's going to be like, yeah, just book with me. Yeah. And, I don't believe in doing that kind of stuff. You have to have some ethics around you. And I'm just going to say this because I see it happens all the time. There are a lot of people on the internet that are taking advantage of people who have less knowledge than them, and they're gatekeeping a lot of things, and then they're extracting resources out of people and taking advantage of them, and which is wrong. And I don't support those people, and I don't like them very much. I just know it will happen because a lot of us are fighting, and I 100% used to and kind of still am those people where we're still fighting to find a way to enhance and get better circumstances. And so when we see somebody doing well, and social media has a great way of making us fall in love with people and the things that they've done, and gets us excited. But remember, most social media shows the success and not the failures. And so a lot of people will think that they'll get something good out of a lot of people that are presenting well, but they are not actually those people that you guys should really be giving your hard-earned money to, because they will most likely take advantage of you. And so I'm not one of those people. I will tell you now, that's not in any area that I probably would have any value to you in those senses. I'm more aligned around strategies around your economics personally, like on the personal finance side. In some areas of business, maybe, but probably not where you're at in the startup world. Lee says, should folks wait on a dip if they miss the beginning of the boom, considering the all-time highs happening now? Well, I'm going to just tell you this. The short answer is yes and no. Yes and no, because that's not a conventional answer you're going to get, which is, should you wait on a dip? You should do both. You can wait on a dip in a particular company that you really, really want access to. Then you have to wait on a pullback. You have to wait on a dip. You have to wait for an opportunity for a great company to become available. If you're more on the, and shout out to my dog Cheeky Banner in the building. What up? If you are if you're more riskier, then that means you may not be worried about a great business. You may be trying to focus on a new business, new enterprise, and you're like, hey, I think they might be great, and I'm willing to take that crazy risk, which I wouldn't do. I wouldn't do with the capital invested at the rate that I would be doing it at, because that's just too risky for my risk tolerance. But yeah, some areas you wait and some you don't. So to give you a simpler answer that you're probably requesting, if you invested in an index fund, you do not really wait. Index funds are a long-term vehicle in which you're going to constantly be putting money into that. And so waiting on dips here and there will ultimately not be hyper beneficial. Now, you can wait for a small pullback, but remember, the more time in the market historically is more valuable over time. So if you woke up today and said, hey, I want to make investments, but I want to wait till the market start coming down, no one can predict that. And then we'll get into the conversation on predictions markets and things like that coming soon. We'll talk about that. That's hard to do. So I would say if it's a particular company you want, i.e., Apple, right? Google, right? Visa, MasterCard, Amex, right? These are more in line with the financial areas that I'm more comfortable in a lot of ways. Then yes, buying them at all-time highs is a very bad idea 99% of the time. You need a understanding of current market conditions, understanding that anything can go down, and then also understanding that the opportunity may leave you by waiting. Prime example, I'll give you a really great example of a company that I wanted to make an investment in. I didn't. I was patient. And then I have to reassess the current market. Okay. That company is Sprouts, right? I think the ticker symbol is SFM, right? So that means that when I saw the company, the stock was like $60 or whatever the case is when I start following up on it. And I was like, and it was running close to an all-time high at the time. And, I was reviewing Costco and Walmart and the business models and opportunity, Target, etc. Right. And I said, now it's just a grocer, but it's a smaller one, which means it's easier for expansion, it's easier to increase revenues, profits, etc. Because the smaller the business it is, the easier it is to make numbers look grand as you scale up, as opposed to the bigger the business like a Walmart. It's harder to make those numbers even bigger because they're so large now. If you're talking, I don't know, if you want to look up how much revenue that Walmart generates, it's an insane amount, and it's extremely hard to generate $1 billion more dollars than which they would be doing now, right? As opposed to someone that's generating $10 million, and then the next year they generate $15 million, which happens a lot. I assure you that type of growth with a story in the markets is insanity. You make a lot of money. So, but over the long term, that may not be a great business and you can lose over the long term. So there's a lot of things there. So I would say it's both. If you are looking for individual positions, then you have to be patient. And you have to strike when the opportunity presents. I'm going to give you a company right now. That I'm currently thinking about because there's mass opportunity there in the sense that I'm reviewing, but I missed that. I got in, I missed it, I got it, and so that's kind of like where you have to look at it. But if it's in index funds or anything like that, trust me, it's really hard to time the dips and things like that. Now, you may say, I'm going to wait 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Maybe the most influential president we've ever seen will make the markets shake up because they're very, very good at that. And then you may be able to jump in, but I would assure you that's really difficult to do. So on the individual side of companies, yes, you have to be patient. And on the other side, definitely want to look at it as like, yeah, okay, boom, doing that. Okay. Now Netflix is the company I'm speaking about as far as the opportunity, because I'm a Disney shareholder, but I make no quarrels about the truth that Netflix is a better run company when it comes to the streaming business. They are the gold standard at that. Far as margins, as far as their ability to maintain their customer, build off their customer, upsell, all those things, build advertising business, they are the gold standard there. I understand that. I still wholeheartedly understand that Disney has the best IP of any company that exists. And it's not close. However, Netflix is better run when it comes to that division. It just is what it is. And Netflix has an insane amount of pressure on the company right now because it's looking to potentially open up debt. Okay? And yes, I'm definitely not a financial advisor because I'm not advising nobody on no finance. I'm talking about what I would do and what I think is best for me. Now, if you decide to take from what you take from that, I support everybody. Okay? Everybody do their thing. But I want you to understand that they are a huge opportunity right now because they were at all-time highs. They made a attempt at an acquisition, which puts underlying pressure on a company because it becomes a bid off, meaning they are bidding. Now, it's bidding with another company, which I actually think might actually win the actual bid. And Netflix might lose. However, wholeheartedly, Netflix is the better company. As a Disney shareholder, I am terrified for Netflix to get access to Warner Brothers IP. Terrified. Because them being number one, they will just maintain their lead even better because the one advantage that Disney has over Netflix is their IP catalog is insanity. And what Disney has created even though it pissed some people off, what they created is so embedded in all of us and our kids, and we want our kids to be Minnie Mouse and Goofy and all that kind of stuff. That's the cool. It brings our memories, like they have that so entrenched there, right? So, but Netflix, if they start to get that IP, we're talking Batman, Superman, we're talking about all of those that IP, and then because they're better at making new stuff. Like if you look at like new shows or anything like that, Netflix is a way and by far the best at it. But if you give them intellectual IP from nostalgic areas like that, and then they combine it with their mind and where they're at, oh yeah, it's over. It's over with. But they gonna maintain that lead for a long time. For a long time. And so Amazon has the best shows by far. Amazon, to me, and I've stated this, I think plenty of times, is the best company in the whole entire world. No company is better than Amazon. Zero, none. Okay. I'm mad I don't have shares of them. Individually, I obviously own tons of shares of them in like a goddamn index fund or mutual fund, but individually, yeah, Amazon on a whole nother planet. A whole nother planet. They are the very best company I have ever seen, studied with my own eyes, ever. And I know we love Apple, and I know Apple's ingenuity and all that stuff changed the game, but I promise you, Amazon is the best. I'm mind blown by them every single day I study them. So I'll make no quarrels about their ability to disrupt any market and anywhere about how their company is ran, top to bottom, how they're always in the thick of things, in the futures, everything, and how they can be quiet and not talk and not get politically involved in a lot of other stuff that we see a lot of other companies do. That we would definitely disagree with. Okay, Chicago Rilla in the building says, no, where the hell you been? You lack of consistent presence is impacting my portfolio, fam. My bad, brother. My bad. I apologize. Okay, I was, taking care of some things in real life and reassessing and realigning things and making sure I got a better balance, because we all know social media can consume so much. And if anybody knows anything about me, I get like caught up in anything that I'm focused on. And so I can't get too caught up in it because this is my passion. This is what I enjoy. But I got the day-to-day business and stuff that I had to realign. So that's all. But shout out to you, brother. You're here. We here to bounce these ideas and make sure we put each other in the best position to win in life. And remember, small ideas become big ideas. Small gains become big gains over the years. And that's the same thing working in reverse. Small losses can become big losses, etc. But I always find it's a victory where we have people together that are sharing ideas and sharing wins and not attack for it. I'm telling you, a lot of us have been attacked for trying to help people get to the next position in life without paying for that. Meaning, I shouldn't have to give up my money to help you get in a better position in life. I should be able to talk to you, tell you what's good ideas, and then you go and do it, and that be better, as opposed to you saying, hey, you doing well in life, give me your money, and then my life will be better. We're seeing that right now. We're going to get a little messy with Glorilla and her family. We're seeing that right now with Glorilla and her family talking about, I seen a post earlier, her sister talking about, well, I want $4,500 for an interview. And now, by the way, I'm not necessarily mad at her sister because, listen, I don't need money from anybody that is rich and famous in my family. I'm going to get the bag. I just don't have nobody that's rich and famous in my family. If they wouldn't need to pay me nothing, I'm going to find a way to get some money. I can interview. Hey, yes, I can, for sure. But I wouldn't tear them down. I definitely wouldn't be trying to destroy their character like that. That don't make anybody look good. However, Sad part is money to be made in every atmosphere. The same people that want to see you succeed, the other people want to see you fail. So the people that don't like Glorilla, well, they've been waiting to hear how she fake and phony. And they've been waiting to see how she ain't really what she said. They've been waiting for it. So all that stuff will play out. But a lot of that is something that we've experienced on our lower famous lives where family have done that to us. So it just is what it is. It just is what it is. So that part is kind of sad, but I just want you to understand those things. All right. So, like I said, Netflix is an opportunity that I'm hovering over right now because I think the added pressure for acquisition costs puts pressure on the company. But I've seen this game played out a lot of times. In the short term, the balance sheet is impacted by debt, but in the long term, they monetize the IP, et cetera, and all those things. Callie Bev, what's going on? They near losing my voice because I have not been used to being on stream for a while. So that is something I'm super focused with right now. And it's a great opportunity because there's downward pressure on it. I don't know how long the pressure will be because I think this battle will exist for a little bit longer, but definitely a lot of opportunity. And then I can tie myself to the number one and number two biggest companies in those markets there. Now, I can, touch on the other area, okay? Rilla says, AO back with the water challenge. Pay attention. Saratoga for the win. Well, yeah, I do need some hot tea with some honey. That's true. But be honest with you, I haven't been streaming, so I haven't spoken this extensively online and got passionate about seeing my people and all that for a while. I'm normally in like a 1 to 10 people atmosphere. So, and we normally in person at a table and we discussing ideas and all that kind of stuff. So I don't normally get my voice elevated up and down. So, forgive me. Okay. I brought my water just in case, but yeah, that tea and that honey might be stacked. But on to that point. So that's what I see in those areas there for me. Just one of the companies that's the high on my list because I want you to understand two things. One, the entertainment industry is massive. Massive. And because of that, there's a ton of money to be generated there, and that will never, ever change, okay? And I'll speak briefly about the new incumbent CEO for Disney, which I'm not upset or happy about. I'm not ecstatic about it either. I think he was the best pick for an internal hire. But my personal thoughts were, and this is what I wanted because I'm selfish, if Disney wanted to create a storyline behind their company, they should have hired somebody from Netflix. If they wanted to prioritize the streaming business and say that's going to be the head of the snake, so to speak, because remember, Netflix has co-CEOs. So I would have tried to steal one of them, first of all, which would be kind of hard, and you have to give them a crazy payday, but it would have got the stock gone through the roof. I promise you that. If they would have announced new CEO of Disney will be one of the co-CEOs of Netflix, through the roof. That was my selfish desire. That would have been through the roof. How much is ESPN impacting Disney's bottom line? Not much. ESPN is profitable, but it's not a needle mover in that sense. The biggest business is the parks business. So if you look at the one reason why they brought the new CEO on is because he ran the parks business, which generates more money than the streaming business. It generates more money than a lot of other companies' streaming business as well. So that is their bread and butter, and that is going to be a problem as far as if they're ever going to make the shift from the parks being the leaders as opposed to streaming, which I don't actually believe that is going to be a hard flip right there. But I hope they can do it because more money in that for me. But they had to bring on the guy that ran the parks because the parks is the one that's showing the more consistency in revenue and, has a level of growth. So that's where the biggest difference was. But ESPN is not impacting the bottom line enough to where it's actually going to be mentioned in the sense of how much the money has been made. The parks business is where it's at, and then you can start looking at the streaming business, but definitely not ESPN. Now, it is profitable though, but it's not crazy profits. So that's why Stephen A got his money, and he probably deserves it. I don't know how to project for that business that well. If Charlamagne the guy gets $200 million for what he's doing, Stephen A gets $100 million. Sports is more embedded in people's minds and hearts than the podcast world. Although I will argue, it's starting to become a little bit of rivaling. And now J. Cole is one of my favorites, right? So I'm going to identify J. Cole for a moment. He said in the future there will be no celebrities. And in a lot of ways, we're starting to see what celebrities are reinvented to as now regular social media streamers are like the shift is occurring right now to where streamers are more popular than a so-called celebrity in a lot of areas, right? And so you guys paying attention to that right now, what you'll see is that a lot of people are using their celebrity to essentially get in on a crowded space and generate views and things like that. So you'll see a lot of celebrities podcasting because it's an insane a lot of money for it, and it's not a crazy amount of skill that's required or a lot of money that you have to put into that unless you turn it into like a completely self like automated business where you just have editors, script writers, like all these things, and you don't like you want to just create it and walk off like what Gilbert Arenas is attempting to do and whatnot. And same thing, the guy that's on ESPN, the punter dude, and how he just let them come in and like it's easy to do, but you don't have to be a celebrity no longer to dominate. However, the celebrities are not willfully going to let you take their space because it used to be. I was telling somebody this the other day. It used to be to get famous, you had to get on the radio. And no matter how good you sing downtown, there was no YouTube for you to be on to be seen. So you had to get on the radio. And that's why a lot of stuff is going on in Hollywood now because people had to do what they had to do to get on the radio. That's no longer the case. So how you become a celebrity is so different now. And it's almost to the point where we don't even like celebrities as much. So, a lot of shifting there. And I'm going to speak about why I think that shifting has happened. But real quick, that is where I see the Disney CEO, his position, his role. I'm not excited or not excited for it. I want to watch and see what happens. I'm not going to be emotional and make a big change. He's younger. I believe he might have some ingenuity in him. And, we'll see if he can turn the business around or whatnot. It is what it is, right? But Netflix is by far and away the better streaming business. And so if they get Warner Brothers, it's over. As a matter of fact, y'all should look in is it Abu Dhabi? How do you say that? Abu Dhabi? I don't travel very much. I think that make you laugh. You can see that Warner Bros. Has licensed their IP out to that particular company, and they've created an amusement park out there that is remarkable, amazing. The imagery is so much better than what we create here in the States. And so if you see Batman's video game, I think it's, what is it called? Arkham Knight or whatever. I love that dang game. I will sit here and watch on YouTube of somebody playing that game. It's an amazing game. I love that stupid game. Batman is dope. Superman's like, it's going to be trouble. Trouble. So I just want you to understand that. Poppy says ESPN is very profitable because of the amount of big advertising companies who are attached to sports. Yeah, it's profitable, but I'm saying in the bottom line to Disney, it's not there just yet. However, we'll see. Oh, Ina, man, I can't stand you. I had owned Spotify some years back. I sold it too early. But this is when Spotify was burning money. And you know, it was years back before it took off. I just don't particularly like companies that are not controlled by the United States because of their auditing and getting access to a lot of their financials and stuff like that. They have different regulations and stuff. So I wasn't the most comfortable with that investment. So, you know, I didn't stay in it very long. Mistake of mine, because obviously I did know where podcasting was going, and I did know that at some point it would become profitable, but they were just burning through money at the time. I hate that it seems like I've been in the markets this long that I've actually bought a lot of these companies, but didn't hold on to them long enough because I had to adjust my strategy over time. Like honestly, my strategy has gone from trying to be a day trader to you know, and oh my God, it's some of the worst ever. No, when you have no guidance, and I'm not talking Chris Brown, no guidance, you got to learn on your own. It does something to you. It teaches you stuff that you could not, that nobody else can't teach you. And so I had to learn. I had to get those ups and downs. I had to take some big L's, and I had to understand that just because you own something don't mean you lost the money when the stock went up and you don't own it no more. That's not how it works. Now, you do have opportunity costs, which that's the L, but I just had to learn those different things, and it cost me big time. It cost me big time because I had capital. I just didn't have understanding of markets, and I didn't have the patience. And yeah, it cost a lot. I'll say that. I've owned a bunch of companies that has gone on to generate a lot of money, and had I known what I know now, I would have generated way more money. I'd be looking like a freaking genius on the internet, like some people that are able to pull that off because of some of the things I would have owned early on. Now, NVIDIA would not have been one of them because I didn't know nothing about it at the time, but I did have people around me that were investing in NVIDIA. But I'm just telling you, I had to refine my understanding of markets and knowledge. And I'm going to tell you what got me comfortable there, okay? Reading, something that Rilla does a lot of. Reading got me comfortable to where I felt like, oh, that makes sense now. And the way my mind works, I can connect things and connect stuff here and there. And the best part about being me, in the sense of once my mind can compute something and I accept it, I can comfortably navigate it without fear, apprehension, worry, and things like that, because my mind has accepted the breakdown that I needed. And reading helps me with that. That's why I read a lot of articles. I listen to a lot of calls and I do all that kind of stuff to help get me understanding. And then I study a lot of the history, even though history is not necessarily indicative of future outcomes, but understanding that in life is just repeated things. Somebody existed 1,000 years before us. They had legs. We had legs. They didn't have a plane. They had something else. But most things are just repeated with slight nuance there. And when you can kind of find your lane, you can take advantage of it. Okay. Probably says next 5 to 10 years, Spotify will be buying out UMG, Warner, or Republic. You can almost guarantee it. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where that's going to go in those senses. I could see a lot of those mergers happening where they can just create a bigger company. I don't think the US gonna let Spotify mob on us like that though. I don't think the US wants to do it, especially the leadership that we have now. They're very big on getting monopolies to the US and getting a lot more control as we're trying to control our destiny. And I'm not hugely political, because I understand how distractions work, but I do understand that it's a real thing. And there is advantages and disadvantages to what's going on there. So, I'm not sure about that. Okay, he says, what about Warner Bros. At the merger? Warner Bros. Has a lot of debt, by the way. So I just want you to understand that Warner Bros. Have been bought before. They were owned by AT&T, aka Turner Communications, all that kind of stuff. And remember, because AT&T who were able to acquire, they did not know how to manage that business. They merged it with Discover, took the Discover CEO, put all the debt on it, re-rolled out AT&T with less debt, refocused on that core business, got the shareholder value back in AT&T. And that particular stock has been doing relatively well compared to where they were. And you can see that even something with so much debt on it has an immense amount of value to the right buyer. And you start to learn, life is about buyers and sellers. So what are we buying and what are we selling today? Because that's what life is about. Oh, you don't want to walk today? Well, I guess you're going to be buying somebody to drive you somewhere. Like so much about that. Oh, you trying to impress somebody? So much is selling you to them and see if they're buying it, et cetera, et cetera. So that's what's going on there. At the merger for Warner Bros., I personally don't know who's going to win that battle. I don't believe they want to let Netflix win, but Netflix is the better company for the success of that Warner Bros. Families to maintain and continue. Now, really is a music connoisseur. He can't help himself. He says, music is pivoting back to physical, analog, human connection. J. Cole has proven it. Well, we'll see. We'll see if that's the same, because I believe, and this is the only political thing I'll say, that the number one resource in all of the world are people. The number one resource in all of the world are people. And you can see why there's such a large battle to get access to people in many different ways. And I believe the children are the future. No matter what we do, the people that come behind us will create the outlook of the future, because we can't outlast people that come behind us. It just don't work like that. And so if the young kids believe human connection is the direction we're going to go, then I will concede with you on that. However, if they do not, you will see a reshaped world on whatever young people think it's going to be. And it may take them 30 years or whatever, 40 years to get there, but that's what it's going to be. That's just how the world turns, okay? Now, let's quickly talk about the AI spending, okay? I want to talk about that real quick because there's a lot of spending on that. Let me see if I can pull up some numbers on this one here, because CNBC was talking about these numbers of the spend that's going on with big tech. Let's see if we can pull it up here. Hold on. I have not been on the ones and twos for a while, so y'all gonna have to bear with me, okay? It's been a minute since I've been on the ones and twos on this internet.
Alphabet, Microsoft, Meta, Amazon expected to spend a combined $600 billion in CapEx. That's this year alone. Our Deirdre Bosa has more on that in today's Tech Check. Morning, Dee.
Hey, good morning, Carl. So it is just simply difficult to get across how big a step up that number is, but this chart does get at it. CapEx between these four companies was at less than $150 billion in 2023, so that is a more than fourfold increase in roughly 3 years. What it tells us is that big tech are becoming the new utilities, and that ultimately changes how you value them. Every company that wants to use AI, whether that's a bank running fraud detection or a hospital reading scans, they will need to rent compute from big tech. And so
stop right there. Did you hear what she said? 600 billion. Y'all saw that spin? I want to tell you why that spin exists. And then secondly, I want to touch on that last part when she said to compute and the protection of it is going to be leased back to these major tech companies. Oh my God. That means they the landlords. That means they the landlords. So, just want you to understand that. One, let's talk about the spin first, right? The spin, 600 billion. Why? So, the spin is multifaceted, meaning one, the more something costs, the higher the barrier to entry is. I want you guys to understand it. Everywhere y'all live, there's some place where the very, very rich people live, and we ain't there. Not because we don't necessarily want to be there. The barrier to entry is $71 million. Wait, y'all want $71 million just for this house here? Yep. If not, get on the other side of that gate. Same thing is happening when corporations are trying to control their outcome. So now, for you to understand, they are saying this. It's going to cost a lot of money to compete with us. And if you don't have a lot of money, technology was the equalizer where you like, dang, I don't even need to have a lot of money. I could just throw this video on, or I could just do this, and it's making it cheap as heck to compete. Well, that's why laws exist. That's why lobbying exists, because certain things was cheap for a long time. And then they said, you know what, you can't sell food on the corner without a license or a permit. Y'all remember that? Yeah, you can't do that. They will lock you up. The barrier to compete, you need a license for that. And now you need a location where you can do that, that's been zoned for an acceptable area, depending on the region that you're at and their legislation. Certain places Airbnb cannot go. There are certain zones in New York City that Airbnb cannot exist. There are certain zones in California Airbnb you cannot have it. We've only zoned this area for example. So the same thing happens in a lot of other business. They will spend a lot of money to raise the barrier of entry so other small companies can't compete. The next thing they will do is buy up all the talent. So even if you are a small company, you realize, dang, it costs a lot of money to reach this. Dang, it costs a lot of money to do this. Dang, it costs a lot of money to do this. And somebody will come in with a check, dangle it in your face, and you go, do I risk my whole family's outcome and future on an idea that could be? Or do I take this check? Do I take this check, $50 million, $100 million? I started this company with $20,000 in my own discipline. I now have a chance to sell this company for $100 million, $500 million. Or they could pay some corporation, or they could pay some somebody in political power to write a law that prevents me from competing again, or prevents this by disguising it as something else, as a protection of the consumer, right? Because we have consumer protection laws, right? I want to tell y'all they exist. A lot of it's political, but I want to assure you, you don't need me to tell you that the government does not really care about you, because I will tell you this. As far as I can understand, for you to be an accredited investor, there is requirements for you to make investments on private things, private companies, etc. And if you don't qualify, then you can't participate. However, in that same breath, they will let you blow all of your money at the casino. I want you to understand that there is no consumer protection at the casino for you, but they will stop you from investing in YouTube if you don't have a certain amount of income or this, even if it's your life savings and you believe in it with all your heart. Man, I believe that, this company is going to be the next best thing. I'm willing to lose all my money. I'm willing to lose all $25,000 because there's a chance I can make $100 million, and I'm willing to blow it all. And you know what they'll say? You can't have that until we've made our money in the private markets before we go public. When y'all heard of seeding rounds and what that means is we was getting in on these companies before they went public. And when they go public, it's underwritten. The value of it is magically created from somewhere. I don't know where we get it from. I understand what the underwriters or the investment corporations that go into the process of doing these deals. For example, the Warner Bros. Deal was, underwritten with banks and, other things like that. And I don't know how they come up with the valuations and all this stuff. They have some special formula. But before a company goes public, they'd had many rounds of which they were taking investor money. When they go public and let you buy, it's because they didn't already made the bag. So yeah, we're gonna go, and now y'all have a chance to get in on this. You'll never can compete on that level. So remember, they will let you blow all your money at the casino and not care a lick about consumer protection. But you can they will never ever let you take your last $20,000, invest in those other companies. So don't ever confuse that they actually care about you. It's all the way the business works. When you start to understand things, you can start to play the game. And you have to play on a low level until you get to another level, and then you get to another level. It's levels to this. And so studying, oh, that's how this goes. Sometimes will put you in a better place. But you don't ever think that it's for your protect. It's not. They're creating infrastructure. And this is what big tech is doing, which, some of us are invested in big tech. So this may be beneficial if you pick the right horse. Meaning, now they're creating the infrastructure for these other corporations to pay them for being the landlords. Can you believe that? This is crazy. This new technology is going to make these new companies the new landlords. Boy, the same game, just different sector. The same real estate, just a difference. It's amazing to watch this play out. But that's why Amazon is spending $200 billion on CapEx. Because you don't have $200 billion to compete with us. You don't even have $50 billion or $20 billion. That's why I tell you the big, huge corporations, they can burn the most money to generate the most profit and put everyone out of business. And yeah, it is what it is. And so that's what you're going to see playing out over the next few years. And that's why big tech is spending so much money. Now, some companies have more money than others to spend. That does not mean they will win, but their chances are increased. And we all love how when money's involved, your chances of winning increase. That's just how the game works. You get better numbers for the more money you got. Oh yeah, how much money you got for me? I give you a better rate if you got more money. You put $5,000 down, we charging you. Think about it like this. It's like going to a check cashing place when you're debanked or don't have a bank. How does one become debanked? Well, you do what Kanye did, or you owe the banks $500, $1,000. They'll put you on that blacklist, and you can't bank nowhere. You be like, but I don't owe y'all. I owe that other bank. Yeah, we came to an agreement that, even though we're competitors, we share a common cause. And because I don't want to let nobody owe me money and then run to somebody else, we agreed that y'all can't do that to us. And yes, they are a competitor. However, we have agreed to terms. So, you know how much they charge you at those check cashing places? Oh, Lord. Oh, you think that they wouldn't be able to have a business for how they get away with this stuff? Y'all talking about arguing with credit cards and the rates that credit cards cost, man. Y'all better start paying attention. Y'all better understand the difference of using a bank and not letting the bank use you. The bank is another vehicle to transfer money and things like that. And you better learn how to play that game because their competitor don't have the same money that they got, so they got to charge you a higher interest rate. Think of it, even though you like, but the reason I can't go to those banks is I ain't really got the money like that. That's why I'm coming to see you. Yeah, well, we actually cost more than those other banks because we don't have the money. It's a game. It's a game. And fear is the number one use of the game. Let me tell you how that works. If you are afraid of, because a lot of people don't like banks, right? Let's just say that's a common thing, whatever the case is, right? If you don't like them, but the person down the street is worse than them, the enemy of your enemy, y'all notice, you afraid to go down that street and get charged. Man, listen. I don't know what somebody told me recently, but they said, man, they got hit so bad at the check cashing place. Whew. I'ma just listen. When I hear about some of these numbers, I'll be thinking to myself, where the mask at? Just mask up. Because that's where the licks is at. Because they really winning in there. Because y'all taking a big L. And part of it is your inability to get control over your own life, to where you can put yourself in a position for that not to happen to you by learning. Life ain't fair. I'm not going around looking for fair. We try to make it fair, but it just ain't going to be. Okay, what's Tyranny? Tyranny says, just admit it. I was the coolest on Fight Club. I don't know if you won that award. Did we put an award for the coolest visitor on Fight? I don't know if you won that award. I don't have a problem with that though. I'm trying to think who the coolest person was. Now that you're saying that, you got me thinking a little bit. We should have did an award for that. That is interesting. Dang, I don't know. You're going to get me in trouble. You're not about to get me in trouble. This is not the awards. It's not Fight Club awards, okay? Stay focused on the finance, girl. This is why you're in trouble now, okay? You're trying to distract me from the finances, okay? But point being, these companies are creating the infrastructure in which everything flows through them. I want you guys to understand that. They are going to be the new landlords. That's why they're spending that money. One, to eliminate competition to where all of those back alley agreements, is that the phrase that they use? I don't know. I'm old, but I ain't that old. To where they like, look, we can compete, but we're not letting these other people compete with us. So they got to get up out of here. Right. And so because of that, they create the infrastructure where we own this side of town, y'all own that side of town, y'all own that side of town. We ain't homies, but we got a common enemy, right? And so I want you to understand that that's how this stuff works. Notice how big tech. Google is one of the biggest tech companies in all the world. They pay Apple. They pay Apple and an insane amount of money to be the default browser on their smartphones, right? So now there's a new venture going out in Gemini, because y'all know Gemini is doing pretty well. And I told y'all I'm a shareholder of Google. We've talked about this. I've showed y'all before. I ain't making this up. I talked about that a long time ago. I said, hey, guys, this is what I'm doing, but whatever. Anyway, point being is their relationships that exist, even though they compete, they still can get money together. They still can get money together. And I told y'all Google got a lot of money to burn, and I understand how having a lot of money allows you advantages, fair or not. And sometimes you got to go with the stallion in the race as opposed to the new horse in the stable, right? So I'm watching all of those things transpire right there, right? And so we see all that things occurring. We got the new landlords occurring. We got people squeezing out the markets, getting people out of control. I want to talk about something that I think is going to be extremely pivotal going into the future, right? Aside from the big tech and what's going on and all this other stuff, I want to talk about what I'm watching transpire, and I think is going to play a major part. And shout out to the lovely Miss Doris. Hey, Miss Doris, how you doing? I know me and you a little sad our team didn't make it to the big dance, but hey, if y'all decided to come to the Bay, we got a lot of people out here. I don't like to hang with those cool people like, Jay-Z and all those people. So I told them, get away from me. I'm over there walking downtown. I'm going to just tell y'all what happened. Y'all want to know what I'll tell y'all. I'm walking downtown. Jay-Z's talking about, hey, come here. I'm like, nah, I don't want to talk to you, Jay. I don't want to talk to you. He over there talking about, look, do you want to go dinner with me or you want that $500,000? I said, I can't even see you. Where that $500,000? I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to go. Give me that. There's too many of these celebrities here. Too many of them. I don't know. Just give me the money. I ain't going to dinner with y'all. Cardi over there dancing on the robots and stuff. Let's see, y'all act up when y'all come to the Bay. Y'all just don't know how to act, okay? They just don't. All right. So I'm just telling y'all now, let's get to the next big thing that I want to talk about that has impact on the podcasting world and this new thing that's developing and how I foresaw it, right? Now, this is all in my mind, right? So I just want you guys to understand that, right? I'm going to bypass all those things, and I want to talk about, because it ties into the Super Bowl and what's going on there, right? It ties right into that. So I want y'all to understand that. So let me switch it to this. Whew. Man, oh man, I don't know why I see it like this, but I think this is what's happening. And y'all tell me if y'all kind of see this, because our minds are a little bit controlled by these corporations and these companies and this entertainment industry. Y'all tell me if y'all think this kind of makes sense. All right, we're going to get into one of the biggest gambling companies that exists, which is DraftKings.
Joining us now in San Francisco is Contessa Brewer, along with DraftKings CEO Jason Robins. Contessa. Sarah, thank you very much for that. Look, we're looking in the gambling industry to set another new record for Super Bowl handle, or the amount wagered. The industry thinks $1.7 billion. How's it looking? Are you expecting another record this year?
Well, we're expecting really big things. I don't know if it'll be another record or not. We're in our quiet period, as you know, so have to be careful on that. But definitely love what we're seeing, and great to see that the industry is still growing, and just think a lot of excitement and interest around this event every year.
The questions that investors have are really about predictions market and whether there's cannibalization.
Now, when she speaks about the predictions market, right, what that ultimately means is this. Basically, people are starting to make bets on future outcomes, right? Events, political things, all kind of stuff. They're starting to make guesses on those things, right? However you want to look at it. They're starting to do stuff like that, okay? Now, when she talks about the cannibalization part of it, that's more of an indication that this new idea that they have may erode some of the other parts of their business in that effort. And so she makes it more complex than it has to be. It's just essentially saying, is this new thing that y'all working on going to hurt your other parts of your business that are already doing something? And that's why she's talking about the cannibalization of it. But that's not super material, because sometimes it's necessary for you to bet against your own business to get out competitors and stuff like that. So don't get caught up on the talky talk that she's doing right there, okay? Don't get caught up on that. Just pay attention to this market predictions, market talk.
Pointed out on CNBC multiple times that over the last 6 months, and you really tie it to when Kalshi said, look, we're going to offer combo bets that look an awful lot like parlays, that DraftKings stock is down 40% or so. The commissioner of the CFTC just came out last week and said, look, we're going to yank the proposed rule that would have banned sports from prediction markets. We're going to go back to the table and we're going to create some clear guidelines. DraftKings stock tanked. People to know about the opportunities and the challenges in prediction markets.
They be dropping some lugs in there. Yeah. DraftKings stock tanked. Yes, because stocks are a representation of future outcomes and guesses and whatnot. It's tied to the flow of money. His business is tied to the flow of money and how often and consistent they can get it from one end to the other end. So yes, it suffered because of that. But how he responds to the question should tell you a lot.
Well, I actually am glad you brought this up, and that very event was very perplexing to us because we were very excited about the chairman's comments and really felt like it was a positive step for what our plans are. We launched a predictions app, as you know. We intend to go out and win in this space, as we have said. So getting more clarity for a legal regulated operator like us, getting clear guidelines is a huge step forward versus, I thought, what was a bit of an opaque, situation before. So I really thought that was a great statement, but sometimes it's maybe us not telling the story. Maybe the public markets just aren't ready to hear it. Sometimes you have a different view than what the public markets do, and we just have to go out there and prove it, which I think we'll do.
A lot of the critics of prediction markets in the gambling industry have pointed out gambling pays high taxes in the States. Prediction markets don't. And that's money that, if you don't have to pay state taxes, that's money you could reinvest in the business or invest in marketing and promotions and things like that. What do states need to recognize about how they're taxing gambling when it comes to earning tax revenue? Because we're seeing Illinois, the handle in Illinois is declining every month since they've passed on this fee per wager.
I think what people have to understand is still a new industry. And, one of the nice things about having all these different states is you get to see things that work and don't. And obviously, if you raise taxes in the very short term, you're going to get a boost. But I think over not so long a period of time, you're seeing exactly what you're talking about in Illinois. And I think the more data points we get like that, coupled with the very real threat of predictions to states, which, as you said, don't pay taxes, I think that's going to cause a real slowdown, at least I hope so, on the tax rate increase, and maybe make some of the higher tax states rethink, is this the right place to be if we want a long-term system?
Well, what do we think about that? What do we think about that, guys? Let me see here. Let me tell you what I think about that. Because this whole predictions market thing is going to be huge in the sense of how many people can participate in it. You heard how she talked about the financial advantage of not having to pay taxes in certain areas. I actually look at the predictions markets and tying it to outcomes, future events, all these things. As crazy as it sounds, it's not just crazy it sounds. I look at it like podcasting. And the reason why I look at it like that Did y'all notice that everybody got a microphone? Everybody got a podcast. Everybody got an opinion. Do you think that was random? Do you think it was not thought out before it was presented as an option? YouTube has existed for a while. We didn't have podcasting. We've always had a camera. You could have always done that many times before. But somehow, some way, everybody got a podcast. Everybody got a microphone. Why? Because everybody has opinions. And part of the way, man, this is extreme, I know. Part of the way that we can groom consumers into behaviors and habits is by introducing something that looks completely different from what you're attempting to do. But we're trying to create the action. We're trying to create the habits. It just may be presented here, but it correlates here. So now everybody got an opinion. Everybody got views. And now everybody can start predicting on all of the future outcomes in the world. Everybody, from the comfort of your own cellular device. I know you have an opinion on who's going to win this or who's going to win that or who's going to do this and who's going to do that on almost any little thing. People had opinions about everything, right? Everything. Now you can predict on the very next play if they're going to run the ball, pass the ball, if the person's going to catch the football, drop the football, an interception, if a penalty will be called first. That is literally the epitome of everything, of everybody having an opinion, just switching the arena. So now that you look at it like that, you go, dang, no wonder they want everybody to get the microphone. No wonder they want everybody to have an opinion. Because they want everybody to think about every particular event that exists and have an opinion on it. And what's the saying? If you believe it so much, put your money where your mouth is. Well, now they're giving you an opportunity to do such a thing. It's not like a casino where you have to go in, possibly get a drink, get some chips and all that kind of stuff. And we've had online, betting before, but nothing like this. Nothing to the point where you can do anything and everything is for a gamble. Anything and everything. Now, I think that's going to continue to play a big part and I think the prediction market is going to explode. I think legislation is going to be there, but if there's a way to extract money from one area to another area, this is going to be another one of them. Just want you to understand that. There's a reason why they want everybody to get access. And it's not because they want to stop you from destroying your future. As a matter of fact, I think we have more tools in the whole entire world to blow all of our money and to destroy our futures financially, which ideally is tied to other outcomes. And we have very few tools that will do the opposite. Man, we are in an interesting part of the world. Because I want you guys to truly understand a lot of other countries, debt is not an option. I know a lot of people are not big on reading and traveling at all, but just remember this. Most people traveling to the very comfortable places in the world, just know you can't, a lot of these places, people actually own them homes or they don't ever get one because you can't get no mortgage. Just don't work like that. But we make sure you get everything you want. And we tie our success to the people. Because I want you guys also to understand this. When I told you people are the biggest resource, And I want y'all to understand that America is the #1 consumer of the world. And I'm going to tie it to this for you guys, for it to be simplified for all of us, right? Y'all ever went on YouTube and forget the UK? I'm excluding the UK in this, although you can use them, excluding Canada. Let's just use a random place like, I don't know, Singapore. And you see a YouTuber and they're speaking English. That's because we're their audience. Because they are in another country speaking English to the American consumer. Y'all can ask yourself, because y'all know yourself better than anybody else. Do y'all watch YouTubers in a different language than the one you speak? I'll answer that for you. No. You ain't watching nobody on YouTube if they ain't speaking your language. It's just not happen. It's just not going to happen. I've realized just studying stuff and looking around, I'm like, why is this person in this country, in this country, and I know this is not their first language, why are they doing this content in English? Why? Oh, because the people in their country are not their target audience, because they can't really monetize their country. They have monetized the American consumer. That is why we're so prevalent. That is why we're so valuable beyond America. Think about it. If you're growing up in another country and you realize the way they present Americans, you can call them stupid, dumb, whatever, but they're always presenting Americans. They don't want to talk about nobody else but the Americans. And I'm not full. I'm just saying they're using us to generate this money. Now, Vannerer says, trick question, I know 3 languages. Well, I excluded you from the beginning because y'all don't have a stint in the military. So, like, y'all, and technically, I think the president was going to, take y'all for him. He wanted y'all for a while. It's like, they really are. And I told him not to do that. I said, no, let them stay the way they are, okay? And he said, okay, fine. For you, all right, fine, no problem. And so that's part of the reason. So that's why I got like 3 languages there. So I understand. And you probably speak French. We French or something like. Probably speak French because I know a lot of people speak French. Abin Preach are huge YouTubers, and I think they speak French. So I would not be shocked if French is one of the language. We know why French would be one of the languages. If the Queen is still on the money and all that, I get it. But the point being is, the American consumer is the world consumer. And even when you're watching people in other countries, they're speaking to you in English. We can't really monetize them. You get what I'm saying? Like, when people watch us, they either learn our dang language or they don't watch us. If they in another country, if they ain't speaking our language, they're like, we don't know what these people talking about. But since they do speak the language, it's going to benefit a lot of them. So it's just an interesting thought that I was noticing. It's just an interesting thought. And I noticed that's been a huge thing. Because I watch all different type of content. Somebody said. So here's the thing. Also, YouTube have closed captions. Listen, I can tell y'all this now. The reason why, hey Kazi, what's going on? The reason why I can't fall in love with anime, because I'm gonna be a fraudster, is because I can't if it ain't dubbed, I'm not watching it. Yeah, I'm not about to listen to another language and then see the American. No, I'm not watching. If it ain't dubbed, it ain't gonna happen. So I can't be a real, anime person that I want to be, because it just ain't gonna work. And a lot of y'all feel the same way. Okay, y'all like, yeah, when they start doing that, you just turn your head and go, who? Because you don't want to read the screen. It's not that you can't read the screen. It's just that the words that you're following don't always align with the action that's currently playing on the screen. And a lot of the stuff that we do is tied to being tied to the words that are spoken at the time of the action of the anime. So it's just not gonna work for me. I'm a fraudster when it comes to anime because it got to be dubbed for me. I don't know why y'all talking about reading levels. Y'all know I can't read above a 5th grade. What did they put the study out on the black male that I can't 3rd grade level? I can't read past that. That's why it's so hard to read financial statements, because I can't read past the 3rd grade level. So no, I'm not about to read those captions. We want audiobooks for a reason, and they better translate in English. But anyway, that's just one of the points when it ties into just we are being commoditized and sold to the world. And they messed up the dub though. It's better in Japanese. Now, I agree with you that the anime is better in its native form, and the dub does mess it up sometimes. Not my Dragon Ball Z, Vegeta. So, but outside of that, I get it. That's why I'm a fraud. I can't even do it. And yes, the voices be all over the place. They need, with AI now, they can adjust all that, and but I'm just saying, I'm just telling you the truth. I can't do it. I'm struggling with that. I absolutely am struggling with that, and that's why I cannot do that, sir. Absolutely cannot. Heck, I'm struggle streaming right now. I don't even remember how to hit some of these buttons. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and figure this out. That's not good. So, but that's okay. I don't mind a little struggle streaming here and there. That's right, Vanderbilt. I did say that. But I'm just studying those things that's going on. And thus we will take advantage of those things. We will take advantage of those things. I saw a question earlier, but I forgot who sent it or who typed it. Something about Chipotle. I forgot what it was. But so there's a lot of businesses that's going on out there that we are to take advantage of. And we shall. We absolutely shall. Might not be today, but it's going to start, okay? Now, the biggest thing that I want to talk about, give me 1 second. I need to get my charger from my computer. It's going to die. Okay, we good. I found my charger for my old MacBook Pro because I need to get a new one, but they're too expensive, so I'll figure that out. Let me remove this. Put that at the bottom there. But that's what I really wanted to talk. I really wanted to make sure a lot of you guys were following. That was an Apple sound. No, sir, that was not an Apple sound. That was what are those things called? The Linux? What is that laptop? Something with an L, Linux or something. Yeah, it was one of those things. Can't afford no Apple's products around here. Look. Don't lose faith. But anyway, so more important part is, are you guys having the real conversations with yourself? Now, how many of you today are feeling that you're making good financial decisions that will be positive outcomes for you in the future? Because this is where we're in February. I gave y'all all of January off into the new year. I didn't bother none of y'all. I wasn't nitpicking. I wasn't standing on y'all line about decision making. I just want to know if y'all are self-reflecting on the actions that y'all taking. How many of y'all are confident that the decisions that y'all are making will be financially prudent going into the future? Now, if you're concerned, just put need help in the chat. And part of the reason you want to do that, because you want to be real with yourself. You want to be real with yourself. Like, dang, yeah, I need some help. Now, somebody earlier admitted that they got a shopping problem. I heard them say that they got a shopping problem. So I heard that. And they said they went over budget too. I think Tyranny said she went over budget. So at least she's been real with herself. Okay. But just go ahead and put it in the chat, tell the truth and say, yeah, I need help. Help me. And then do me a favor is keep track of the brands that you are helping to produce positive cash flow for. Okay. So if you guys go to Target, just put, yeah, I'll be at Target. And I want the chat to see the names flooding of the companies that you're consistently and constantly utilizing so that they can get an understanding. Oh, yeah, this company, yeah, they always in the kid has a Pokemon card problem. Yeah, so I love Pokemon. Anybody that knows anything about me, I love Pokemon, okay? It's one of my favorites in the whole world. I love Pokemon, okay? I used to play the Pokemon game a lot. Now I play the mobile game a lot. I'll be on my phone. But Sephora, absolutely. There we go. Yeah, Sephora. That's what I expect to see. I expect to see a lot of Sephora in that list. Okay, let me see here. Now, I don't expect to see a lot of Louis Vuitton unless y'all frauding up in here. Don't put no Amiri jeans in the chat. Oh, hey, I got a closet full of Amiri jeans. Don't put that in the chat. Because also, if you somebody might look at that and go, oh, I can't mess with them. They over there spending all their money on Amiri jeans. They don't know that you are saving those and you're possibly going to resell them at a higher price in the future. I don't know. I don't know how Amiri jeans work. I just know they're very either expensive or popular, but I don't know. I heard them in the song. I don't know which person sang the song. Was it the NBA young dude or whatever? I don't know. One of them. I know they're big. Me and my Amiris. Who said that? Me and my Amiris. Maybe Lil Baby said that. I don't know. You probably should not buy the stuff the rappers are buying. In most cases, don't do that. Do not do that. Okay. It's not a good idea. Now, people don't know what's a good salvage dinner. I don't know what's good. Well, Levi's stock is on there. Now, let's shift because I did get a question pertaining to Waymo, right? Everybody, Pooh Shiesty. Oh, shout out. Hey, look, isn't he back locked up because he was trying to get out of a contract with Gucci? Look, I swear these people different. How do you just get out and you do some Shiesty? Listen, man, I couldn't hang with nobody named Pooh Shiesty. Not at my old age now. I wouldn't feel comfortable. No, I wouldn't feel comfortable. Yeah. Nah. Once they be like, yeah, my boy, I'm leaving. I'm getting up out of there. Anybody with that kind of name, some just ain't gonna be right. Some ain't gonna just be right. So anyway, going back to that, somebody asked me a question about Waymo. Waymos are extremely prevalent here, and they are expansion to other places. There was an accident that happened not too long ago. It was pretty bad. It was a pretty bad one that I saw, but not fatal, but a bad one. I think one of the cars bumped into a kid or something, or collision or something like that. It caused a big issue, which I told y'all that's going to be a normal practice of development, the technology. I'm not a fan of it, but I understand how things go. Ultimately, there was also another issue where there was an issue with the power, and because of that, y'all remember when you probably read it, all of the Waymos pulled to the side of the road because we had lost power out here in the Bay and all in some areas, and there was flooding going on, all kind of stuff. When that situation happened, what I ultimately thought was they're going to have to remove the control center. And this is just me being futuristically thinking. Their control center to the space, right? Because if your centralized controls of vehicles are here and power can go out and whatnot, and then that control does not exist, that's a problem. So I think the power needs to go to actually space, and that way they can find a way around that type of issue. And the reason why, if you're going 60 miles on the highway, which they're not there yet, and a power outage happened in the control center, whatever the case is, becomes a conflict, I understand you can program something to go to default, which is to slow down, pull to the side of the road, or whatever the case is, or do a pattern loop or some kind of crap like that. But I ultimately think the smartest idea is put the control in space. That's what I think it is. You know, we have orbits and all that kind of stuff. I think the future, the smartest, grandiose idea is to put the control there and not have it down here. But we'll see if that's something that transpires. But it's ultimately not pertinent now or important, but in the future, I think that's what's going to happen. But I remain extremely bullish on Waymo. I understand the so-called Tesla robotaxi is heating up competition. I'm not heavily concerned with that. Plus, I have to project a little bit. The people that will be in charge of office when Elon starts to get that off, will he have enough of a relationship with politicians to get favorable outcomes for permits and things like that? He's not a very likable person, and he talked too much for my type of CEO. He is smart. He knows how to manipulate the world around him, but he talked too much. I want my CEOs to be quiet and make money and shut up. You know how all the ladies on the podcast, I remember when men never talked about us on the podcast and they would just talk about sports and stuff and be quiet. You remember when y'all was saying that? That's how I like most of my CEOs. Be quiet. Don't say too much and get business done. I don't like them talking that much like Elon do. I don't like that. It's going to conflict. That's what happened with Disney. They talk too much woke stuff, and that's going to be a problem. But at the end of the day, y'all still going to go back. Y'all still going to go back to these companies, okay? Y'all, even if y'all don't believe me, I'm telling y'all are. Because I definitely see, I seen how many people visit Disney parks every year, and it's crazy. It's crazy. It's like 17 million people are visiting these theme parks yearly or something like that, or more. So y'all still going. So I'm not too concerned with that, but hey, we got to figure that stuff out. Why don't they have a backup plan? They do. They have a backup plan, but this is new technology. These are new circumstances. You can't really prepare for a scenario and an outcome that hasn't presented itself yet. Let me give you an example. Right? Let's use healthcare. If you've been going to the hospitals lately and things like that, one of the big things that they do is when you meet your doctor and all this, and you're going through a surgery, whatever the case is, they always ask you qualifying information. What's your date of birth? Okay. Can I see your little, can I see that? Oh, they have to match these things up, right? And the reason that they do stuff like this is because it cost them a lot of money and they made an error before, but by not truly identifying the patient and all that prior, and they were just assuming that this is the right person. Now they talk to you. Hey, what's your brother? Okay, thank you, and all that kind of stuff. Because it cost them money. They could have been doing that, but it didn't cost them money. Same thing will happen with these kind of companies. Google can't really prepare for a blackout in the human response until it actually happens. I know we think AI can predict all these things and predict all those things, but I don't know if they can recreate those realism scenarios where you don't know if someone will get out of a car, crack the windshield, try to snatch you up. So we have to experience certain things in order to prepare for them. So this is what they call data. And so that negative experience can turn to a positive one for a company that says, yes, we got a lot of data out of that situation. We learned how to navigate it. Luckily we experienced it. So that's what happened there. You can't always prepare for those type of things. So they do have backups in place, which is default programming, meaning pull to the side of the road and wait for further instruction when it's safe to, and et cetera, et cetera. And I think that that's just probably the best thing for them to do at this moment. But you can't really prepare for those type of outcomes. I just think that's really, really hard. Yeah. So that's my view on that. Now, maybe should. Now I have to decide, guys, on how much time I want to allocate to streaming again, if I'm going to keep doing it, because I don't know. And then also, if you guys have interest in me slightly adjusting to reviewing financial content creators, meaning like, sometimes you guys see somebody and you be like, you should review it. You see this person saying this, what you think about this person? Because I do find a lot of things interesting when I'm watching and listening to a lot of these people, and I'm like, they said that. Now, I'm not sure if I want to point out, because me, I'll be like, oh, that person trying to manipulate us, but I don't really want to. I'm kind of interested in it, but I don't really want to mess with people's money. This is the internet. People make a lot of money on here. I don't really want to bother them too much, but I am so intrigued by finance and the content and all those things. It does intrigue me a bit. I don't know. I have to figure that out. I have to figure that part out, because I do think that would be fun for me. And there are little like fun facts and stuff that people do. So I think that'd be interesting. Anyway, guys, you should let me know. Let me know if you have intrigue or interest on that. There are a lot of like finance content creators that you guys watch a lot. I hope that maybe you're not too sure of if they're actually guiding people, or maybe the word guiding is not the best. Creating content that is effectively beneficial for you guys, informational in the sense of, or are they just taking advantage of the circumstance? Because remember, this is a very prey on people type of industry when it comes to finances, because of people's lack of knowledge and things like that. So let me know if you guys are intrigued by that. Now, let's talk about a little bit of what my strategy is going forward, and then I'll let you guys get to the football game. Okay, so here's what we're doing right now. I'm maintaining focus on my watch list, meaning companies like Netflix. I'm looking at Sprouts. I'm probably looking to buy more of Meta if it drops down more. Credit card companies, Visa, Amazon, MasterCard. There's a lot of downward pressure on them because of potential credit card cap rates. Although I don't believe that will happen. That'd be historical. The standing president never really done that before. And I don't know. I'm not going to say that they can't do it, because I assure you, we've seen stuff happen that people thought could not be done. So there's a little bit of pressure in that area. By the way, they've run up. Visa, MasterCard, American Express, they have run up. But those payment companies have a nice stronghold on markets. And if there's an opportunity where the cost to acquire shares there is advantageous, they're what we're looking at. Now, what I'm doing that's probably a little unconventional is cash reserves are a little bit higher, in the sense of I haven't been alive forever, meaning there are things that happen in markets that even I don't truly understand, or I have seen and experienced, right? I'm not old enough to go through all of the crashes that exist. A lot of us were just getting to the age where we just had a job when, 2008 market crash and things like that. And so I don't necessarily know all the possibilities that could be outcomes. So I'm probably preparing a little bit more to switching to a different investment vehicles outside of the markets to have a little bit more diversity. Although I believe the markets are the greatest vehicle that's ever existed in the history of America, per se, as far as invested capital and outcomes potential. So, but there are other vehicles that you need to maintain. So cash and cash equivalents are probably a little bit higher. How much higher do you ask? Well, I'll say this. Six figures, roughly, at least, right? Which is really high. You don't necessarily need that much if you're allocating things within your strategy. But because these markets are doing stuff I've never seen, and we're in a situation, an atmosphere that I've never experienced, I'm adjusting my risk tolerance and having a level of realism about how much risk you really need to take, and then how much opportunity you're going to have if your invested capital is tied up before you can react, right? Meaning, anytime you could sell your stock tomorrow when the market's open at any time. However, you may not want to do that, and your position may be down, but then you want to utilize capital. If you don't have cash or things like that around, it may prevent you from being able to execute in a different area or a different vehicle because you're so heavily tied in other areas. And because I am not 85 years old, I don't have the wealth of that experience to go, I'm going to do all in on this or all in on that. So I'm utilizing the current environment of the markets that exist now to say, I see this and I understand this, cool, but this I'm not really understanding that well, so I might need to prepare for this. And if this happens, I can execute this, that, and that will be a better outcome than to be overly wagered here, et cetera, et cetera. So that is short term what I'm doing versus, and then long term consists of the process, right? So anyways, I've been talking too much today. I appreciate you guys stopping by, showing up, showing out like y'all always do. This is a very rusty episode of myself, so I'm very, very much happy that I just decided to get back on to connect with everybody. But anyway, Super Bowl Sunday. I don't want you to forget that your actions and decisions you make now have an impact on your future, but enjoy life, have fun, try to be as responsible as you can. That's all we can do. And until next time, which I'm not sure what that will be because I haven't determined. Okay. I put the force on you guys. Yeah. So if I get 10 comments that say, yes, I want you to get back to doing the show regularly like you used to, 10 comments after the end of the stream, when I go back and I say, okay, 10 people said they want me to do it, I will go back to doing streams every Sunday like I've been doing and allocate that time. But if I don't get the 10 comments, I'll be like, it's probably not that important to them. Although I enjoy it, but I want to make sure I'm delivering value to it. At least 10 people. 3 people's fine, but at least 10 shows me that I'm like, okay, they're actually interested in that consistency there. I'll bring it back. And it will be obviously a lot more refined than today, because I can't even see certain things on my screen because I don't remember how to do it. But I enjoyed myself. I had a good time. I want you guys to go out, continue to have a good time. If you in the Bay, as you should have been, seeing as we got the Super Bowl over her. Lamar says 10 for one person. Hey, look, don't cheat the system, beat the system. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. Hope you guys enjoyed the show, enjoyed the conversation. Thank y'all for showing up and showing out as you always do. And we'll see about next time. And until then, we gone.